Making an episode of a live-action show is a lot like baking a pie. To make a good one requires equal parts hard work, time, and love. If you succeed, you'll create something great to be enjoyed by everyone. But if you are missing even one of the key ingredients,
you will fail, and it will burn,
leaving a lingering scent. My name is Pie Guy Rules, and I'm here at the bottom of the bakery to smell that pie. Metaphorically speaking, of course. In reality, I'm here to talk to you guys about an episode of a Schneider's Bakery show that was really not good. There's a big difference between a moral being interwoven into a story, so much so that the audience might not even realize that they're being taught a moral, and having the characters just blatantly come out and serve as a mouthpiece for the writer's beliefs. But I'm getting ahead of myself here. Let me tell you what the episode's about. Sam and Kat are in a convenience store one day when they find out that their favorite soda, Blue Dog, is being taken away by government officials. They ask the guy in charge why this is happening, and he says because some people have been abusing the soda, so therefore it needs to be banned. The guy also takes a picture of Sam and Kat's flyer saying he might need their babysitting services later. The girls decide to brew up their own Blue Dog soda illegally and give it to the people in town who want some. Government official guy later drops by to drop off his kid, which makes the girls afraid of being caught by the guy. And sure enough, when he comes back later to pick up the kid, there's an explosion in their Blue Dog lab and the guy finds out about the soda. And the episode ends in perhaps what is the most insulting of ways possible. But that's the big problem of the episode, so we'll talk about that last. This episode is like a really patriotic dog-shaped cake. From the few episodes of Sam and Kat that I've seen, I've noticed a pattern. Every episode has a few things wrong with it that are just kind of in the background. They're definitely problematic, but not as much so as the big problem in the episode, so I don't want to have to keep mentioning them. So I've created this little checklist that I'll use to quickly sum up whatever the small problems of the episodes are before getting into the really big one. First up, annoying characters. Goomer fits the bill. In terms of the rest of the characters, they're bland, but at least they're tolerable. And by that I mean our main characters. There's another problematic character in this episode, but he's part of the big problem. Poor comedy. Now of course, this one's subjective, but I'm gonna point to a joke that does absolutely fail, because they use it twice in succession. Sam brews up a bunch of Blue Dog and Kat doesn't like it, and then says something intelligent like you need the right flavor profile and you need to add this and this and this. And the joke being, of course, that Kat is stupid and usually wouldn't be so knowledgeable about something, hence comedy. I don't particularly think it's funny, but yeah, that's a joke. But then they do it again, but with Goomer a few minutes later, by having Goomer somehow knowing a lot about how you would have to manufacture and come up with some way to sell these things. You cannot do the same joke that fast with two different characters. If you want to make it a recurring joke for the episode that Kat keeps saying something intelligent, then fine, but why have Goomer do it too? And heck, maybe it could have been fixed if Dice or Sam had said something like, what is this, Idiot Genius Day or something? Next up, obvious plot points. This writing is very, very obvious and predictable. And yet the show treats it like you're supposed to be surprised by things. The guy blatantly says he wants to use their babysitting service, and yet they are surprised when he shows up at their door later. And lastly, this episode includes a lame kinda sorta parody. The episode's about an illegal substance that's blue. Can you take a wild guess of what they might be referencing? Most of the plot plays out like your typical Prohibition episode, but when Sam and Kat are setting up the meth lab, the Blue Dog lab, there is a montage set to some Spanish music. I think they were trying to do some sort of Breaking Bad-esque montage. If that was the joke they were going for there, wow, that is insulting to Breaking Bad's montages, which are some of the most beautifully edited sequences I've ever seen. But this one gets a pass because they don't go full-on Breaking Bad parody, thankfully. And it's fine to include a reference or two, because the plot still makes sense without it. Let's see how that cake's doing. You know, it's looking alright. Definitely isn't the best cake in the world, but hey, it looks like it was decently cooked, and these decorations don't look half bad. But now we get into the big problem. Like I said in the beginning, the characters are literally mouthpieces for what the writers believe. They end, unironically, with a "Murica" speech. Seriously. The issue presented is one about how much power should the government have in banning substances that are harmful to people. The day is saved by Sam, Kat, Goomer, and Dice just literally telling the guy in charge, hey, you shouldn't do this just because some people are abusing the soda. Because hey, anything can be abused. Everything should be in moderation. This is America, the land of the free. Don't blame us for other people's problems. There is a lot of issues regarding the moral in this episode. The first of which is that it's just lazy writing. If the characters have to give a 2-minute speech on the moral at the end of the episode, just so flatly and on the nose about the moral, you did something wrong. Heck, Sam even states the moral of the episode 2 minutes in. She says that it's not right to ban the soda because some people are abusing it. She already said that. I know this show is aimed at a young audience, but even young audiences understand what point you're trying to get across here. You don't have to hammer it in so crudely. But that's not all, because this issue is not as they present it. The fact of the matter is, people have been debating about how much power the government should have over banning things for decades and centuries. Whole political parties are based around these ideologies, and this episode just boils it down to, banning anything is bad, because anything can be misused, so don't ban anything. This argument isn't necessarily wrong or unfounded, but it completely ignores the other side of the issue and a lot of things surrounding it. Obviously, the episode isn't going to talk about drugs and whether or not those should be banned, but they don't even mention the fact that this is being done for kids. Kids exist in a whole different category than what adults are able to do. Alcohol is banned for kids. According to this episode's logic, you should just not do that because, hey, some kids could drink alcohol responsibly, right? The speech isn't about how soda really isn't so bad and soda shouldn't be banned. It's just about how things in general shouldn't be banned. If the episode is just going to come out and blatantly state its morals like that, I'd expect them to be a little bit more reasonable with them. And not only that, but this downright feels like propaganda when you consider that the opponent in the episode, the guy who stands for banning the soda, is a complete moron and hypocrite. He is written explicitly to be wrong. And they do every propaganda-like tactic to make sure you think he's wrong. They make him a jerk for no reason. They make him ignorant about basic facts that he should know about for his job, that the fact that grape juice has more sugar than some sodas. And they overall make him look like a bumbling idiot. They're saying, hey, if you don't agree with Sam and Cat, this is the other side. Just the guy's mannerisms bother me, and I'm not sure whether it's bad acting or just a result of the bad writing, but the guy's movements and speech patterns evoke that of the irate gamer. They are over the top and just phony. Whoa, they just shot that dog-shaped cake. Apparently, in an attempt to make their cake more patriotic, they exercised their Second Amendment right on it. I've heard of the term eat lead, but this is ridiculous. What a waste. They had something going here, but they just shot themselves in the foot. Cake. Well, technically both, I guess. I think it is important to just point out that it is a dog-shaped cake, not an actual dog that was shot. No dogs were harmed in the making of this video, although, knowing this bakery, it is entirely possible that they decided to use dog meat inside the cake for whatever reason. Wait a minute, what are they doing now? Oh no. Really? You're gonna fill in your bullet holes with hamburgers? Ugh. And aside from the moral issues, this ending is insulting to the story. All the characters had to do was tell the guy that he's wrong for doing what he is doing, and say, hey, some people are responsible, so don't ban this. That's all the characters had to do to get this government official to just break down upon his stance of which his career is built on. That's it. A lame speech, which is just a longer speech of what Sam already told the guy at the beginning of this episode. This episode is insulting. If the moral wasn't so blatant and in your face, then it wouldn't be so much of a problem. I don't think that the moral is bad, just ill-informed and one-sided. And it's what the episode is about. The moral is the focus of the episode. It's not about the story, it's not about the action, it's not about anything but the moral. Entertainment should be entertaining. If they can weave a moral into a story so that it fits naturally and doesn't feel heavy-handed, then yeah, that's great. But the moral should never, ever be this blatant and insulting. Oh yeah, and the speech means a lot from the girl who's been nothing but addicted to Blue Dog throughout the entire episode, and the other girl who's addicted to Bibble. Pie Guy Rules, out.